Chapter 38. In those days was Hezekiah sick unto death. And Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amoz, came unto him and said unto him, Thus saith the Lord, Set thine house in order, for thou shalt die and not live. Then Hezekiah turned his face toward the wall and prayed unto the Lord. And he said, Remember now, O Lord, I beseech thee, how I have walked before thee in truth, and with a perfect heart, and have done that which is good in thy sight. And Hezekiah wept sore. Then came the word of the Lord to Isaiah, saying, Go and say to Hezekiah, Thus saith the Lord, the God of David thy father, I have heard thy prayer. I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will add unto thy days 15 years. And I will deliver thee in this city out of the hand of the king of Syria, and I will defend this city. And this shall be a sign unto thee from the Lord, that the Lord will do this thing that he hath spoken. Behold, I will bring again the shadow of the degrees which is gone down in the sundial of Ahaz, 10 degrees backward. So the sun returned 10 degrees, by which degrees it was gone down. The writing of Hezekiah king of Judah when he had been sick, and was recovered of his sickness. I said in the cutting off of my days, I shall go to the gates of the grave. I am deprived of the residue of my years. I said, I shall not see the Lord, even the Lord, in the land of the living. I shall behold man no more with the inhabitants of the world. Mine age is departed, and is removed from me as a shepherd's tent. I have cut off like a weaver my life. He will cut me off with pining sickness from day, even to night wilt thou make an end of me. I reckon till morning that as a lion, so will he break all my bones. From day even to night wilt thou make an end of me. Like a crane or a swallow, so did I chatter. I did mourn as a dove. Mine eyes fall with looking upward. O Lord, I am oppressed. Undertake for me. What shall I say? He hath both spoken unto me, and himself hath done it. I shall go softly all my years in the bitterness of my soul. O Lord, by these things men live, and in all these things is the life of my spirit. So wilt thou recover me, and make me to live. Behold, for peace I had great bitterness, but thou hast in love to my soul delivered it from the pit of corruption, for thou hast cast all my sins behind my back. For the grave cannot praise thee, death cannot celebrate thee. They that go down into the pit cannot hope for thy truth. The living he shall praise thee, as I do this day. The Father to the children shall make known thy truth. The Lord was ready to save me, therefore we will sing my songs to the stringed instruments all the days of our life in the house of the Lord. For Isaiah had said, Let them take a lump of figs and lay it for a plaister upon the boil, and he shall recover. Hezekiah also said, What is the sign that I shall go up to the house of the Lord? It appears as though chapter 38 historically occurred before chapter 37, but that's just nice. In those days, Hezekiah was sick unto death. We don't know quite why. It doesn't say. He had some kind of sore as an indicator of it, but no idea what it was. And Isaiah shows up and gives him the good word. Thus saith the Lord, Set thine house in order, for thou shalt die and not live. An interesting thing here. Then Hezekiah turned his face toward the wall and prayed unto the Lord. Now Hezekiah's palace was south of the temple. And Hezekiah's north wall of his palace was a wall that was closest to the temple. And we think that what he did was he actually turned his face towards facing the temple and prayed unto the Lord. Since he couldn't make it inside, he would have been, if he had sores, which it basically did, we learn later on, he would have not been allowed to go into the temple, even though he was the king. He would not, because he was defiled. He was impure. He had sores on his body, and that, according to the rules, wouldn't allow him in. And that was as close as he could get. And what he does is he says to the Lord, I beseech thee now, remember how I've walked before thee in truth and perfect heart, and done that which is good in thy sight. And Isaiah, of course, has left. And he gets the message. Go to Hezekiah and say, Thus saith the Lord, the God of David thy father, I have heard thy prayer. I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will add unto thy days 15 years. Boy, wouldn't that be a nice message to get. Get an extra 15 years. And then he says, now you got to remember, at this point in time, Judah is captive by the king of Assyria. Now, not that there's a war or anything happening, but Assyria has conquered northern Israel and is getting tribute from southern Israel. And I will defend this city. And we saw how he defended it in the earlier chapter. And he said in verse 8, behold, I will bring again the shadow of the degrees which has gone down in the sundial of Ahaz 10 degrees backwards. Now, we don't know, we haven't got any idea of what the sundial of Ahaz was. We know what a sundial is, but we don't know what this one particularly was or how big or how it looked. And it was nothing for, of course, the sundial to go forward, because that happens with the normal passage of the sun and the shadow. But to go backwards, something strange has to happen here. So it went backwards, so he knew that God would do it. He didn't have to worry about it. He didn't ask for a sign, but apparently he's got one. Then Hezekiah writes a little bit, and he's basically tells the Lord, right, you know, I did these things. I'm so glad that you're going to look after me. I appreciate all that. And talks about going down into the grave. He can't praise him, but now that he's not going down to the grave, he can. And then Isaiah gives him some instruction for the particular ailment that he has, or at least the outer signs of it. Let them take a lump of figs, verse 21, and lay it for a plaster upon the boil, and he shall recover. So there was something about the lump of figs, or doing it, or however they prepared it, that would heal the sore. And at that point in time, it's in verse 20, the Lord was ready to save me, therefore we will sing my songs to the stringed instruments in the days of all of our life in the house of the Lord. He is going to become a singer. I mean, he's not going to give up being king, but he's going to sing praises unto the Lord in the temple. And so then at verse 22, Hezekiah also had said, what is the sign that I shall go up to the house of the Lord? He's going to be cured. That's going to be the sign, because until he's cured and the sore is all gone, he can't go up to the house of the Lord because he's not allowed to.